was living alone in a small rental house just outside of town when this happened. It was a one-story house at the end of a dead-end street. There were only 5 houses on the road, and at night, it was usually completely quiet. I worked from home as a freelance graphic designer, so most days I didn't leave unless I had to. I rarely had visitors. My friends always texted before coming over, which is why the first knock immediately felt strange. It was around 8:45 on a Thursday night. I, Brian, was sitting in the living room watching TV when I heard 4 loud knocks on the front door. I muted the TV and sat still for a moment, thinking maybe I imagined it. Then, there were 2 more knocks. I stood up and walked to the door. When I looked through the peephole, I saw a man standing on my porch holding a cardboard box. He was wearing a dark jacket and a baseball cap. He looked completely normal. I opened the door, but kept the chain locked. The man, John, immediately said he had a package that required a signature. Then he looked down at a small scanner and read a name aloud. It wasn't my name, not even close. I told him he had the wrong address. John looked at the box, then the scanner, then back at me. Then he read the address out loud. It was my exact address. I said, "Nobody by that name lives here." He stared at me for a second longer than felt normal. Then he said maybe he had been given the wrong information and that he would take the package back to the truck. I watched him walk away. I expected to see a delivery van, but there was nothing. He walked past my mailbox and disappeared around the corner. The next night, at almost the exact same time, there were 3 more knocks. This time, I didn't open the door. I looked through the peephole and saw him again. The same man, John, the same jacket, the same box. I spoke through the door. "You were here yesterday. I already told you nobody by that name lives here." There was silence for a few seconds. Then John said, "I just need a signature. The system says the package has to be delivered tonight." I replied, "I'm not signing for someone I don't know." There was another long pause. Then he quietly said, "Okay," but he didn't leave. I watched him through the peephole. He stood at the edge of the porch and slowly looked over the house. First the front windows, then the side of the house, then back at the door. 15 seconds later, he finally walked away, and once again, there was no vehicle anywhere. That was the moment I first started feeling afraid. On the 4th night, around 9 o'clock, I was in the kitchen when I heard 4 knocks. But this time, they weren't at the front door. They came from the side of the house, near the dining room window. I slowly walked into the dining room. Nobody was there. Then, 4 more knocks came from the front door. I looked through the peephole. It was him again. But this time, John wasn't holding the box. His hands were empty. I didn't say anything. He knocked again. Then he stepped back and looked directly toward the peephole. I immediately moved away. I didn't make a sound. 30 seconds later, he turned and walked away. I waited, then carefully looked through the blinds, and that's when I saw him. He was standing across the street near the tree line, just standing there, watching my house. The next night, I stayed in my bedroom with the lights off. At exactly 8:45, there were 4 more knocks. I didn't respond. A few seconds later, 4 more. Then, silence. Then I heard it. A soft thud from the back of the house. Then another. Someone was testing the back door. I could hear the doorknob, slowly, turning. I immediately called 911 and whispered that someone was trying to break in. While I was on the phone, the knocking started again at the front door. That was when I realized there was more than one person outside. Then I heard the metallic scraping of a tool against the back door, like someone was trying to force it open. After 30 seconds, everything suddenly went silent. When the police arrived, they found fresh pry marks near the handle of the back door. The next night, I stayed at my brother's apartment. Around 9 o'clock, my neighbor called. She said a man was standing on my porch, knocking for 5 minutes. The police arrived and questioned him. It was John. He had no ID, no marked vehicle, nothing. Later, they arrested him in another neighborhood. Inside his car, they found several empty cardboard boxes and a fake scanner. He admitted everything. He would knock on doors with a fake package. If someone answered, he would mark the house as occupied. But if nobody answered after several nights, he would break in. He even returned to the same house for nights in a row, just to see if the lights were on or off, to study the pattern. I moved out 3 months later. Even now, I never answer the door at night unless I know exactly who is coming. And if anyone ever shows up with a package that has my address but not my name, I don't even go near the door anymore.